back for our Monday episodes. Back to the regular schedule. We got a great guest for you guys today. 7'2" center out of Houston, Texas, Trent Burns. Appreciate you coming on, man, and taking some time out of your weekend. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
It's a little early for me, but I'm chilling. I made some coffee, so I'm ready to go. But you impressed me a lot this past weekend. When the EYBL was here, when you were playing on Houston Hoops. Before we get into all of that, you played on a very new school, PSAT, or is there does that stand for something?
PSA, Prep Student Academic Training.
It's a long title. I don't think I would have remembered that.
Yeah, just go with
But
PSAT.
you played on a very talented team. I was able to watch you guys a little bit on YouTube against like SoCal Academy and a couple of other schools. 14-3 on the year, beating teams like Dynamic Prep and Concordia Lutheran. How do you feel you did this last season, being a new group of guys, just starting to get a feel for each other probably these last couple of seasons?
I think we did pretty good. Well, we had a new coach this year, and since the first practice, he was always preaching we have to work hard and stay together. He always talked about brotherhood, building a bond on and off the court. So I think that helped us a lot through the season.
Is it a little like basketball is completely different from when I played in high school. So like for you, this being a new school, this wasn't your first year there, right? You've been there those 2 years.
Yeah, I was there last year too.
So were most of the guys from last year back on this team, and you guys kind of knew kind of feel for each other, or were there kind of new guys transferring in and stuff like that?
It was a few. It was like 4 or 5 from last year, and then we had a few transfers come in.
And for how you guys play, 14-3 is only 17 games on the season. I know usually high schools have a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Being in that limited, amount of games, minuted a lot of amount of minutes. What were you trying to work on throughout the year to continue to grow in your game, get better, get a better feel? Like I know a lot of things that stuck out to me. Your outside shot is very impressive for how tall you are. You're the closest thing to Wemby I think we have in America. So, but what were some things you worked on most throughout the year with your trainers, some coaches that you're probably tight with, that you wanted to make sure developed properly so you're able to play at the next level?
Like you said, everybody knows I can shoot now. I'm pretty sure I've proven that. So I was really just trying to make sure I focus inside so I can play inside, in and out, and not just out. Working on my post game, post moves, really trying to get that into my game. And then attack rebounds more, block more shots.
Is it a little tough? Like, I won't say necessarily tough for you, but you're one of these guys I've seen now of this like new generation big man. I mean, it's kind of hard to call you a center, like a traditional center now, because all you guys, you got a handle, you're able to spread the floor. You're pretty good in transition offense too, being able to run down the floor. But like you said, you got that shot. You're trying to work more on your inside game. Since you're, 7'2", is it a little bit difficult for you that are when you're guarded by guys a bit smaller than you? Like I know some of these guys in like the EYBL and stuff that you've played, their big guys are only probably 6'8", 6'9". So when you walk on the court, it might be a little bit of a challenge for them to be able to try and guard you. But have you ran into anything that's kind of you've had to struggle with and grow in to make sure you're able to overcome stuff like that?
I would say like if I post up and I go middle and weak side might slide over, I try to keep the ball high because a lot of hands are down there when if I try to spin back. Yeah.
This past season, you averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks a game. Had a couple of big games from the film I saw, but it's a young school, so the statistics were not in max reps. But you're on a very talented team. I wasn't able to find the roster, but there's a couple of guys on your team, at least in that SoCal Academy game that I watched, that impressed me too, just like you. What was the overall mission from your coaching staff? You talked about a new head coach this year, that they really preached to you guys and helped you be able to dominate the way you guys did in some of these games this season.
From day one, you just work hard, work hard, work hard. Don't stop. You can be tired. He always told us you can be tired after the game. Keep going while you're playing.
For people that might not know about like the Houston aspect, I've had a couple of kids on from Dallas and like the DFW area. The Houston hoop scene, is it just as gritty, as grindy as like all these guys in Dallas and Austin and other places? Or how would you describe how Houston basketball is like?
Definitely tough. There's talent everywhere you go. You can't run. You just got to play. Everywhere.
It's so interesting because I've only been to like the South Lake DFW area a handful of times. So I'm just learning about a lot of y'all, and I'm like, I thought there was a lot of kids, a lot of talent in Arizona. Then I'm like looking at like 24/7 and all these like different video guys and stuff, and I'm like, search up a name, dude's not even ranked, and he's just like windmilling and like playing hardcore defense. For you guys though, who would you say was like your biggest rival, or is there any rivalries now in like these kind of prep academy seasons? Or was it trying to just like come in, go to work as hard as you can, and then like game's done?
I was just trying to get as many wins as possible.
All right. Well, you generated a lot of buzz this past weekend. But before we get into that too, your first session, I know you guys played AZ Unity, so I was able to talk to a couple of guys from the Atlanta session. What's it been like being able to play, on this EYBL circuit for you? You're playing, in the 17U division, which from a lot of what I've seen in a lot of the games I was able to go to, I mean, every division is stacked, like clearly. The 17U, these guys are working and going at it the hardest because, they're trying to get scholarships too. What has it been like for you in Atlanta, in Phoenix, competition-wise? What has the overall field been like for you playing in the EYBL this summer?
Crazy. It's definitely the most competition I've ever played against. It just makes you have to step up your game. You can't fall behind. You can't be the odd man out.
Is it a little bit like not intimidating, but is it a little bit like shell shock when like I know Brad Beal and Mello were there this past week and like every single freaking college coach in America. Is it a little bit like surreal for you being able to like step on the court and you're seeing all these types of people walking around, all these cameras around?
Yeah, definitely surreal, especially during warm-ups. You just look anywhere you look, there's somebody there watching you. But once you get in the game, it shakes off after a while.
This Houston Hoops team you guys got, you're 500 on the year, but you're a very talented team. I know you got Trey, who's looked at as the #1 player in the country, and a whole lot of other guys. What's it been like being able to play with, Trey specifically, having all these offers and all these people trying to go after him, and you've been able to pretty wellly complement his game, I feel like, in some of the pick and roll you guys have done and stuff like that. But for you being able to play with not just him, but the rest of these guys, what's it been like for an overall aspect?
It made me step up my game. I feel like every shot matters because if I'm missing shots, there's other people on our team that can make shots. And like you said, Trey, he draws a lot of attention. So when I pop, there's 2 on him. I'm wide open. I got to knock that down.
Yeah, something that stuck out to me when you guys are playing Lightning is you do the pick and roll like to perfection, but instead of rolling like the casual big man does, you're stepping out to 3. And if they kick it to you, you're letting it go, regardless if someone's in your face or not. You're letting it go, and I actually appreciate that. I think that's a great thing to do because, I see guys like last night. I'm a Suns fan, so DeAndre Ayton only wishes he can shoot the 3 probably as well as some of you guys right now at your height. But for that, that shot too, is that just hours in the gym of being able to work on that shot, or how have you been able to, get it down to a science to where when you get that pick and pop after the pick and roll, you're letting it go and it's going in, like 40% of the time?
So growing up, I always liked KD. So he shoots a lot of shots. So my dad, he's like, all right, we can do that. So hours in the driveway, hours and hours in the driveway, just shooting shots. And then shooting with people in my face, I've never really gotten blocked. So why not just shoot it?
You've never gotten blocked?
I never got my shot blocked on a 3, so let it go.
I'm hoping nobody from the next EYBL session hears this podcast before it happens, because somebody might try to come behind you and stuff. But let's keep going on this weekend. You generated a lot of buzz, this past weekend with how you played against some of the best in the country. I know New Haven Lightning, a lot of guys. The family's got a lot of guys. 14-6 with a block against the Lightning, and then 11-6 in 2 blocks as well against the family. If people watch the game, though, for me, you're affecting the game on way more levels than just the stat sheet. Of course, your presence alone is going to do that, but how you're able to not let these guys drive to the lane. I mean, it's something that you're probably expected to do because of your height, but it's also you're good at it too. So, what did last weekend do for you, and how do you plan to continue to get better as the EYBL sessions go on and going into Peach Jam?
It just shows no matter who you play, you can stick with anybody. People were saying they were the best team in EYBL. We came out and did what we do.
What
just
was
gotta stay?
No, go ahead.
Just gotta stay in the lab, getting practice hours in, getting our chemistry together, so we can go ahead and get more wins, get above 500.
What was that game like specifically? It was one of the nightcaps. It was I think the 6:30 game for that Lightning game. And I came for the second half, but there was a lot of people around, and it didn't seem like there was an open spot on the bleachers and on the court even too. Going into that game, what was your coach's messages to you, and how did you guys capitalize on, you kind of got it from the jump. I went back and watched that game. Thank you to Nike putting it on Twitch for us to live stream again. But I mean, from what I saw, you guys caught him from the jump. You didn't let Elliott, get into his whole offense and dishing out everything. You guys kind of took control defensively first, and then the shots were falling, and that's what got you guys that win. But, for beating a team that was looked at, as the best team in the EYBL and the Lightning, what was your guys' overall mission and message you guys wanted to send out during that game?
Game before, Soldiers game, we took a tough loss in overtime, so everybody wanted to get this win back. And then we watched film the day before. We just didn't want to let, like you said, Elliott get in his, make sure no lobs, no dump downs, tried to limit his points. Yeah.
From the trainers you've worked with and coaches you've had and have now, you said Kevin Durant is someone you look up to, but what do people say when they watch you play? They remind you of, who are some people that come to mind when I'm sure some weird, short white scout is like, man, you play like this guy. But who are some guys you try to compliment your game off of? Who are some guys you watch a lot of film on to try and, utilize their skills and add it to yours?
Well, ever since Victor stepped on the scene, that's all I get is Wimby, Victor this, Victor that. All on Instagram comments, all on everything. Get his clips sent to me all the time.
Is it a little weird, seeing this dude? Do you want to play like him, or is there anybody else that KD is someone that came to mind too, because KD is 7 feet tall, and the way he moves and his handle and his jumper, you got that same jumper down, in the way you shoot it, in the way it's a consistent jumper. But what about Wemby's game? Do you even like that? Even if you like it, what are some things about him? What are some things about KD that you like and try to adapt to yours?
Wemby, his shot blocking is crazy.
Yeah.
He can shoot really well. I need to work on my handle, get like that. Yeah. That would be crazy.
What are some goals you have for the rest of the summer? I know you got Dallas coming up, and then y'all got Memphis, and then Peach Jam. We'll get into team goals too. I'm sure you guys, of course, are win every game, but I'm sure there's more to it too. But for you personally, what are some things you want to be able to do and show to colleges and recruiters and scouts to prove that you're able to play at the next level?
Just stay as consistent as possible, offensively and defensively. just want to show that what I can do. So hopefully some schools will like me, like what they see, offer me a scholarship.
You guys, you know, coming in 500, you're in that other division. I have it up. Let me get it up. It's not this one. Yeah, here you are. So you got, of course, the Lightning. That's why y'all play them. Team Final, CP3, PSA Cardinals, Mellow, Expressions, Moken, Live On. Who's that?
They're in Louisiana.
Okay, never heard of them before. That's interesting. Team Durant, PG, Elite, Family Soldiers, Unity, Boo Williams, Drive Nation, Knight Riders, Indie Heat, Skill Factory, and Georgia Stars. And that's your conference, I guess you can say. You know, right now you guys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're 12th, but you're also tied for like 7th.
I think
because,
it's 8 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, because there's like a handful of teams that are all 500. I don't know who you guys are playing up in Dallas, but what is the mission? What is the goal as your coaching staff? You know, and even the guys, you know, you play with, what are the goals you guys have to be able to continue to get better and put up big wins?
A lot of our losses, if you look back, we've been up on a lot of teams that we lost to. So we were really just trying to focus on closing out games, and then rebounding was a big part of a lot of our losses too. So we all have to rebound a little bit better, defend a little bit better, and close out games when we're up.
It's so interesting to me how they break it down, but excuse me. For you, you know, being in that Houston scene, you were able to get a little bit of a feel probably for what the rest of the country is like playing with PSAT, but being able to play against in the EYBL against these guys who are spread out everywhere. What has it meant for you to be able to play against, you know, some of the best in the country, and also just to see what it's like, you know, in other parts of probably places you've never been before?
It's definitely a really nice experience playing against top people in the country. I think I should be one of the top people in the country. But it's cool.
You just said you think you should be up there with some of the best in the country. What makes you unique? Like if people were to hear or not see you play and you were able to describe how you play, like in one word or 2 words, how would you describe how you play and why?
A 2-way 7-foot shooter.
That sounds like a college coach's dream right there. After showing out this last couple of weeks in the EYBL, like we talked about in Atlanta and in Arizona, you've been able to pick up a couple of offers from some Division I schools. Rice, Nevada, and New Mexico, I know offered you a couple of days ago, which congrats on, dude. It's a huge deal. What is your goals though to continue to perform at the highest level and to continue to generate buzz about how you play?
Just keep working off the court every day, stay consistent, and then let my work do talking on when I step on the floor.
One of my last questions for you before I let you go. What can people, you know, that come, scouts and recruiters that are probably going to look into you more, look forward to see the next time we see you step on the court in Dallas?
Just keep getting better. I'm always working to get better.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on and chopping it up with me. Before I let you go, I got 2 last questions for you. NBA playoffs are, of course, happening. My mental health was played with as a Suns fan last night, watching that game again. Who do you got winning the finals after kind of getting a feel for what these semifinals have been like?
I said I've always liked KD, so I do hope the Suns go and win it. But Denver is tough. They have a lot of firepower.
I was watching it with my girlfriend last night, and they showed Jokic's stats, and it was like 29, 16, 15. And I'm like, that is the quietest triple-double you will ever see. There's no other guy I see that's like dishing it like he is. Is there anything about him that you like and like you're trying to add to your assist? Or is it just so damn hard to play like this guy who's a little bit slower, not the best
Yeah.
looking, he's not like this crazy fit dude, like, like we see like Embiid and even DeAndre Ayton and Gobert. These guys like rip centers. Is there anything about Jokic's game that sticks out to you about why he's so special?
His feel for the game, he's just like he just knows where the open man is, like
Yeah.
no matter what.
Well, it's crazy. Well, like we always end every show before we get out of here, favorite on-court shoe. I made a little bit of a joke. I was like, you probably don't have a lot of selection being this tall. You said you're a size 15, which is pretty normal for a hooper.
Yeah.
What's been the go-to shoes? What was the go-to shoe during, your school season? And what's it been like now with these EYBL care packages?
During the school season, I played in the Giannis Unos a lot.
Mm.
The blue ones. I like those a lot. They're real comfortable. And then we got the KD 15 EYBLs. Those would be my favorite right now.
Are the care packages as nice as I've heard from the EYBL?
They're pretty nice. They're pretty nice.
Well,
no
Trent,
complaints there.
I appreciate you coming on, my guy. Wish nothing but the best of luck. Anything to shout out before we get out of here?
I'm good. Shout out you. Appreciate you bringing me on.
Yes, sir, man. Well, you're on my good side now that you said, Kate, you got the Suns winning. So I'm definitely going to have you on again. Hopefully when you're making your college decision. I cannot wait to see the rest of your journey, but appreciate you chopping it up with me, man. Wish nothing but the best of luck, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Have a good one.